Hey guys, it's Miss Fitchy. Sorry I can't be here this morning, so I wanted to start by kind of explaining the bell ringer and making sure you kind of understand what you read last night. So last night you read scene 3, and in this scene we've got Lady Capulet and Juliet and the nurse. And basically they're kind of setting Juliet up or prepping her to meet this guy, Paris, that they're hoping she'll pick to marry. And so during this persuasive moment, Lady Capulet has a pretty lengthy speech where she's talking about how amazing Paris is to Juliet. And so on the back of your handout, I've copied that speech. What I put in the top of the notes is that this long speech is one giant metaphor that just goes on and on and on for several lines, where Lady Capulet is comparing Paris to something else. And so when you have a metaphor like that that goes on for several lines, it's called a conceit. And I know we've talked about that before. So we're trying to figure out, what is the conceit? What is she comparing Paris to? So let's read the lines together. What say you? Can you love the gentleman? This night you shall behold him at our feast. Read o'er the volume of young Paris's face, and find delight writ there with beauty's pen. Examine every married lineament, and and see how one another lends content. And what obscured in this fair volume lies, find written in the margin of his eyes, this precious book of love, this unbound lover. To beautify him only lacks a cover. The fish lives in the sea, and 'tis much pride for fair without the fair within to hide. That book in many eyes doth share the glory that in gold clasps locks in the golden story. So shall you share all that he doth possess by having him, making yourself no less. So the conceit, if you flip back over to the front, I've got this little formula for you at the top. Paris equals what? What is she comparing him to? A book. Okay, so now what I want you to do is pick out 2 quotes from that particular passage that indicate how she's comparing him to a book. So pick out 2 examples. And then over to the right, give me the citation, just like we learned yesterday, and it's on the board. Your act numbers are in uppercase Roman numerals, your scene numbers are lowercase Roman numerals, and then you give the line number. So you're looking for 2 quotes. Then with your group, you're going to answer questions 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you'll have about, 7-ish minutes to complete this, and then you'll turn it in, and we'll move on to the next thing. So let's take about 7 minutes and get it done. Pause. All right, so now that we're done with the bell ringer, the next step is to look at scene 4 and scene 5. So scene 4, we're not actually going to read today in class because we're really going to look at it pretty extensively on Monday when we get back. But I want to just kind of give you an overview. So scene 4 has Romeo, Mercutio, and Benvolio. And then it also just has like 5 or 6 of their friends. So they're all out on the streets of Verona on their way to this big party at the Capulets' house. So they're just a bunch of teenage guys on the street at night having a great time. Basically, in this scene, Romeo is still Romeo. He's all upset. He's downtrodden. He doesn't want to go to the party. One of your questions asks why Benvolio says they shouldn't announce themselves. The answer to that one is because he just thinks it's old practice. It's not the contemporary way to enter a party, and it might blow their cover. So Romeo's all upset, still super depressed and not really interested in going to this party. Doesn't like the idea he's going to have to see Rosalind again, knowing that she doesn't share his feelings of affection. So this is where we're first introduced to Mercutio. Mercutio is a cousin of the prince, but he's Romeo's best friend. And Mercutio is crazy, but highly entertaining. So basically, he's trying to call Romeo on his bluff and just be like, dude, snap out of it. Like, we're getting ready to go to a party. you have got to get yourself in a better headspace. And so he's kind of playing devil's advocate with him. And we're going to look really closely at the big speech that he gives because it is super confusing. But we're going to look at that on Monday, where he talks about the Queen of Fairies, Queen Mab, and how she visited Romeo and what that might mean. So it's kind of complex, and I didn't want you guys to do that without me. So we'll do that Monday. So that's scene 4. So at the end of that scene, as they're leaving to go into the party, Romeo has one final statement that has tons and tons of foreshadowing in it. He says, "I fear too early, for my mind misgives some consequence yet hanging in the stars, shall bitterly begin his fearful date with this night's revels, and expire the term of a despised life closed on my breast by some vile forfeit of untimely death. But he that hath the courage of my steerage of my course direct my sail." So huge foreshadowing there of what's about to happen. We're talking about stars, they're star-crossed lovers, talking about death. We know that that's going to happen. So now we go into scene 5, everyone's favorite scene. Romeo and Juliet finally meet. So you're going to read this with the audio in class, and then you'll have the rest of the period to work on your packet. When you come back from the break, you need to have the packet done. The only exception is we might need to fill in some blanks on scene 4. So you have enough information from what I just said to answer the questions on scene 4, but don't worry about the chart for scene 4. We'll fill that in together when we get back. Everything else in the packet should be done. So I really encourage you to use your time wisely today and to knock as much of that out as you can. Hope you guys have an amazing break, and I'll see you when we get back. Bye.